No sooner was I almost finished making this Tom Cruise video that I've been working on, does the running cyclone of charisma trend number one. Why was he trending? Leaked audio from the set of Mission Impossible 7 where Tom lost it at a couple of crew members just further went to solidify what I already knew, that Tom Cruise is the world's greatest movie star. He wasn't screaming at a DP for ruining his lights. He was screaming at two jabronis that had allegedly broken social distancing rules, putting the film in danger of another shutdown. One of the reasons he's the GOAT is that he's over here trying to save thousands of jobs, and as far as I can tell, all of Hollywood. Hell, the world. And I'm starting to get the idea that the rest of these folks aren't very clear with their intentions. I mean, you gotta give it up to Tom Cruise. His sheer will and magnetism has kept him not only relevant, but a certified Hollywood A-lister for over 35 years, and he's done it the only way he knows how, by being Tom Cruise. Now, there is a wide range of types of acting. The most heralded, I would say, would be method acting. StudioBinder.com describes the practice as, quote, a technique or type of acting in which an actor aspires to encourage sincere and emotionally expressive performances by fully inhabiting the role of the character, unquote. This type of acting can lead to some of the most impressive performances in film history. Daniel Day-Lewis, Christian Bale, Meryl Streep, Toni Collette, all have given a wide range of performances by various methods of full immersion, brutal diets, accents, the way they walk. These achievements by discipline blow my mind and should be given their rightful and respectful due. Just like all-American hero Tom Cruise deserves his due. And no, not for method acting, but for always pushing the envelope of what is possible in a Hollywood spectacle. Sure, it's impressive when an actor can get the right vowels correct of a Cockney accent or starving themselves to look like a skeleton in human skin cosplay. You know what's also impressive? Sitting on top of the world's tallest building with no shoes after being dropped on top of it by a helicopter. Just look at this picture. Look at it! I mean, Jesus, L. Ron Hubbard, Christ. He's sitting on top of the Burj Khalifa, photogenically smiling with no shoes on, while a chopper is blowing hurricane-level gusts of wind at him. Call it acting, or Tom being Tom, but this is such a masterful performance that I believe not only does Tom deserve an Oscar for this Polaroid, but this is most likely what sent Daniel Day-Lewis into retirement, knowing he could never reach this feat of acting. The only way DDL would have been able to is if he was playing Tom Cruise in a movie, and because he hasn't done this, makes me think that he can't do this because only Tom can do this.
People.
Tom's obsession with pushing the limits of what a lead actor actually does on screen is fascinating. Buster Keaton, Douglas Fairbanks, Jackie Chan, all incredible stunt performers, all accomplish mesmerizingly dangerous feats without proper safety conditions afforded to them in today's movies. Tom has picked up where they left off and ran with it. When you look at the current state of Hollywood, it's a lot of franchise machines that take an A-list actor and markets them accordingly. While RDJ killed it as Iron Man, all these franchise actors are replaceable. Disney can replace any of these actors and not miss a beat as far as their production quality of the movie goes. Tom Cruise is the franchise. He's irreplaceable. Which A-list actor could you get to replace Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible? You think Chris Evans is going to dangle off a cliff to give the movie that much more realism? You think Hemsworth is going to allow his massive, perfectly sculpted frame to drop 30 feet from a helicopter? The current landscape of the Hollywood blockbuster machine is to produce epics heavily laden with CGI and green screens that follow a tried and true formula. Get big names, put them on set, have them read their lines, and rake in oogles of cash. But not Tom. Tom insists on relying on practical effects whenever possible in order to make the most impressively grounded picture. His first majorly impressive stunt in my mind was in the first Mission Impossible movie. The famous wire-dangling white knuckler of a scene instantly became a pop culture rocket ship that led to countless parodies. A lot of credit goes to Brian De Palma and the rest of the crew for perfectly crafting this scene, but let's stay on target here. The athleticism and muscle control this requires is truly impressive. It would be easy to use a stuntman, but I believe that as an audience, seeing Tom actually doing this and not just a bunch of quick cuts with a stunt double is what propelled this scene into film legend. We've kind of become numb to action sequences in modern films. We just assume everything is CG, so when the rare film comes along that does it for real, we don't even really appreciate the practical artistry. We just assume it was mostly done on computer and oh hum. And yes, while Tom does occasionally use stunt doubles, by all accounts the majority of his on-screen feats are done by him. such as rock climbing at Dead Horse Point in Utah, training to be a samurai, helmetless motorcycling, being strapped to the side of a plane, holding his breath for 6 minutes underwater, training 18 months to fly a helicopter, flying an F-18, high-intensity interpretive dancing. I could go on, but you get it. It's also worth noting that these days we have quote-unquote action stars that have clauses in their contracts that say they can't lose a fight or look lesser than a co-star in a given scene. Tom's not afraid to look weak. When Edge of Tomorrow came out, I thought based on the trailer and poster that Tom was going to play a badass that was going to murk some aliens. Instead, he plays a cowardly military officer who tries his best to avoid any and all fighting while he's been selling the war to the public. Through the film's events, he goes from being a weak bitch that gets his ass handed to him all the time to being able to hold his ground and fight for the greater good. This shows that Tom's not afraid to look vulnerable on screen and doesn't have to be written like an invulnerable superhero, even though he certainly could if he so pleased. Stunts and Mission Impossible franchise aside, Tom's a great actor. His performances in movies such as The Color of Money, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Vanilla Sky, Magnolia, and Tropic Thunder, just to name a few, are quite dynamic and impressive. I would like to see him dip his toe back into those types of dramatic waters, but if he wants to keep diving off the deep end into action-packed movies, that's fine with me too. The term movie star is open to interpretation, but in my opinion, nobody has a stunt highlight reel combined with acting chops and A-list star power that is as innovative and forward-thinking as Cruise is. All the ridiculous training and discipline that he implements can be seen just by looking at the on-screen results. And if we use all the aforementioned criteria, to me, Tom is a runaway winner. Keep running, Tom. Keep running.
The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.